Good evening, everyone. Those stories coming up in just a moment. First, some clouds and even a few showers in our region. Breaking news just into our newsroom. Authorities in Pulaski County are searching the Ohio River right now for a man they believe to be dead. Siding here, roofing, everything is scattered across the ground, and there's a lot more to be done. As you mentioned, just take a look at this house. The entire side blown off. Rain, though, is that going to wash out any maybe allergens that are there? I'm asking for a friend.
Yeah, right, I've noticed.
So what should you do if you think you've downloaded a malicious app? Well, first, experts say delete it. Then you should restore your phone back to its factory settings. They just cannot wait to hear what the president has to say to them just one night for the midterm election. There's lots of preparations going on right now, including preparing the food for all the hungry folks that are coming out here to welcome home those 65 veterans. One of those is this food truck here. This is the Red Onion. And just take a close look at this. It smells as good as it looks, guys. What you can still see here is what remains of tire tracks and tracks that lead down to a little further in the distance. You can see the tree. Well, this 4th of July, you might be waving your American flag proudly, but what goes into making Old Glory? Breaking news tonight. The driver of an RV led police on a high-speed chase across several Williamson County towns tonight before crashing in Herrin. Multiple witnesses tell News 3 that chase lasted about an hour, speeding through Marion and Pittsburgh before finally ending in Herrin. And here is how it ended. You can see that RV had crashed into a pole. It had been traveling westbound on Stotler, hit an electric pole, and then came to a stop at 4th Street. Now, this is surveillance video a viewer sent us showing that pursuit going through Johnston City. Witnesses also report police set up a spike strip, blowing out the RV's tires, but that the driver kept going for miles. Multiple departments were on scene, as well as a canine unit tonight. Authorities remain tight-lipped, though, on why the RV was being chased or even if an arrest was made. Williamson County Sheriff's Departments are not releasing any details at this time. Now to continuing coverage of a developing story we have been following all day. A tugboat explodes, igniting a fire and killing 3 people in Kentucky. And here's what we know tonight. That blast happened just after 9 o'clock this morning on the Tennessee River in Marshall County. 3 people died: Timothy Wright, Jerome Smith, and Quentin Stewart. 6 others were injured. Tonight, multiple federal, state, and local agencies worked together to try and figure out just what led to that deadly explosion. They've been on scene all day here in Calvert City. That's about 30 minutes east of Paducah. As News 3's Andrew Feather reports, they have a lot more questions than answers tonight. State police say the property on which that explosion took place is owned by First Marine. The tugboat itself is owned by Smithland Towing. Troopers say autopsies on those 3 people killed in the blast will be done tomorrow. Well, now to Washington, where all eyes are on lawmakers as they have just 2 hours to avoid a government shutdown. But just moments ago, enough senators voted against a bill that would have prevented a government shutdown. And in a tweet late tonight, the president said it's, quote, not looking good for our great military or safety and security on the very dangerous southern border. A partial shutdown will begin at midnight tonight if Congress does not pass a funding bill. New tonight at 10, a crash in Saline County killed a Thompsonville woman. It happened around 1:30 this afternoon just north of Weber Cemetery Road. Illinois State Police say 20-year-old Danielle Steiner was driving northbound on Route 34 when she crossed the center lane and crashed into a semi headed the other direction. Steiner was pronounced dead at the scene. The other driver was not hurt. Well, teachers from all across Southern Illinois spent the day learning better ways to make their science classes more interactive. They attended workshops at SIU today for the 22nd annual Science in the South Conference. The speakers today wanted to give teachers options other than lecturing to help keep their students more engaged. Coming up, Marion, Benton, Pinckneyville, and much more. Darren and Maddie are in with a baker's dozen of the area's top high school basketball games. Plus, a Marion homeless shelter reopens its doors thanks to one special volunteer. That's tonight's Unsung Hero. But first, we saw a bit of a warm-up today. Is an even bigger one just around the corner? Tim's in next with our forecast.
Stacks of debris pile up quickly. What a tornado ripped apart Thursday, piece by piece, was picked up Friday.
This is pretty much the direction the
the tornado came through.
Mark Holmes' house took a direct hit.
You know, the neighbor, when he first called, said it looked like part of the roof was gone, and I was thinking, well, that won't be too bad. I'll go check on it. And then, of course, once I turned in the driveway, it was like, oh, that's a little bit more than a little roof.
From downed fencing and tree limbs on the outside,
The dining room set was a wedding gift from my mom and dad.
to shattered windows and belongings thrown everywhere inside.
It's hard to imagine even building it back.
But Holmes is staying positive.
The good Lord's always been good to me, so there's probably a purpose. But who knows? I'm probably not the worst damaged house, I imagine.
About a dozen homes have a similar scene. Debris such as shingles and glass and much bigger items just scattered throughout their yards. While these homeowners tell me this is a devastating scene, they say it's their neighbors who are helping them get through it.
It's just a blessing to have everybody here.
10-year-old Lily rolled up her sleeves to help here.
My grandparents' house has just been there all my life, and I just didn't want it to be destroyed.
The tornado tore off the roof and toppled this large tree. Lily's grandfather was home at the time.
My first reaction was I started crying, and I just had to see my grandparents, and so when I knew they were okay, I just started helping them.
He was very shaken up.
Larry McGregor's dad also experienced that frightening moment.
The door had blew open, and he saw just a piece of board, whatever, from the neighbor's house just flying, whatever, and next thing you knew, it hit. He was keeping that door closed, just hanging on for dear life.
But no one inside any of these homes was hurt.
The Lord was watching him, I guess. So it's a miracle.
The focus now is on recovery. The long process just getting underway.
I mean, it's bad. Don't get me wrong, it's bad, but, you know, there's always tomorrow and nobody's hurt. So, like I said, we'll rebuild, we'll go on. Life's a four-letter word, so don't ever forget that.
In Paducah, Carolyn Cerda, News 3. SIU senior Antoine Durant has enjoyed his 4 years in Carbondale.
As you can see, we are all having fun here.
But Wednesday, he learned the Illinois budget impasse has left his university with no money to spare, forcing a massive budget cut.
How we feel is just politicians playing with our future like we're just toys. And it makes us sad because our future are in their hands and they're basically playing tug of war.
Well, we're at a point of crisis now.
So SIU President Randy Dunn recommends a $30 million budget cut at the Carbondale campus. In addition to the lack of state funding, what led him to this dire plan? Well, Dunn says a declining enrollment and tapping out Carbondale's reserves to the tune of $80 million.
So all of these things have created that perfect storm. The state impasse, as well as loss of enrollment and the need to start paying back reserve accounts.
So where exactly would those $30 million in cuts go? Well, Dunn admits that there would likely be layoffs, and he says the university is spread just a little too thin right now, which means that several majors and minors would either need to be consolidated or completely dismantled, along with other resources for students.
It makes me sad. Some of these majors are valuable to the economy of Illinois itself. So without some of these majors, how are we going to get more students to come in and fill out these roles to help make Illinois a better place?
In addition to the cuts at SIU Carbondale, Dunn's plan would also cut $2.2 million from the School of Medicine in Springfield and $4 million from SIU Edwardsville. It would also allow Carbondale to borrow from the Edwardsville campus's reserves.
So I really do see this as a shorter-term measure to buy some time until the state, if I can put it this way, gets its act together and gets something passed.
Dunn says even knocking down a few pins could help buy SIU and its students valuable time.
While we've got a financial crisis we've got to deal with, we're not going to close the doors. SIU is not going away, and it's still a great place to get a fantastic education.
Carolyn Cerda, News 3.
We had plenty of moments all day where we had a lot of sun beaming down on us, just like it is right now. And the crowd here, well, it was like a party here. The stands are empty right now, but when those clouds did roll into and over the eclipse, well, the force was strong in these stands, and the folks here got at least a glimpse.
Bright sun beaming down on Saluki Stadium on a Monday morning.
It's the humidity.
Clear skies allowing the sunshine to heat up eclipse enthusiasts.
I'm looking out there on the field. It's going to be hot.
Damian Siegel, one of just a few who got to step onto the field.
This is the place to be.
And with my first escort by stormtroopers and Princess Leia.
She and her friends helped kick off the Eclipse program. They came out in full force and full costume.
I'm a Rebel pilot, X-Wing, and we got a Jedi right here. And we also have another X-Wing, we have Jawas, we have stormtroopers, sand trooper.
Damian among thousands from near and far descending on Carbondale.
It's all him, as far as I'm concerned. He's obsessed with space.
Erica Dean and her son traveling from Louisiana.
What I think is strange is that normally you can't see the corona even though it's like 3 million degrees hotter than the rest of the sun.
That view of the corona possible during the totality of the eclipse, but the dark side came a little too early.
Darkness and clouds.
Clouds covered much of the totality over Saluki Stadium, a place expected to have the longest duration, 2 minutes, 40 seconds of totality. The 14,000 people here saw only about 10 seconds.
It was beautiful. The ring.
That, for many, was more than enough.
Calming, but yet exciting because you heard the hundreds of screams behind you, and I just couldn't help myself. I'm jumping and yelling and screaming as well.
The roar from the rebel forces appearing to work, providing a few moments of a spectacle in the sky.
The clouds parted. The Jedi worked their mind tricks, and the clouds parted, and we all got to see it. So.
And Dennis, as you mentioned, NASA also set up shop here, and they say even though they missed much of the totality here at Saluki Stadium, they say they'll likely come back in 2024 for the next total solar eclipse that'll pass through this area. And so maybe then they'll also have the force with them as well. Live in Carbondale, Carolyn Cerda, News 3.